Adulting can be hard. Sometimes you're nailing it, and other times you're just a stack of kids hiding in a trench coat hoping no one notices.
In the Pixar SparkShort 20-something, Gia finds herself literally in this situation on the night of her 21st birthday. 20-something is a story about the insecurities of adulting and how we're all just faking it till we make it.
Before we talk to Aphton Corbin, director of 20-something, she's here to give us an exclusive breakdown of a scene from her upcoming short. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Aphton Corbin. I'm the director of the Pixar SparkShort 20-something, and I'm here to break down a scene. We picked this scene with Gia backing into the bathroom and stumbling a bit haphazardly, kind of revealing there's something else going on. She's not all the way quite together. We picked this one in particular because this was our test shot, and it was a great way to have all the departments with a test shot, kind of get their feet wet. Really will help us capture what the entire film is going to look like and feel like, where you get so much about her, you get that she's trying to pull it off, make it look easy, and then completely loses it right before she goes inside. I boarded the scene out, and I thought it would be an interesting touch just to have a little bit of a stumble right before she went into the bathroom, and then pass it off to our animator. He really brought the motion for the character and made it feel like something comical, especially with that little bit at the end where she goes like, haha, and then slips inside. That was an added beat that he put in, and it felt so like juicy and entertaining. From there, we handed it off to Andy Jimenez, who is our compositing soup. One of the things that I really wanted to do on 20-something is play around with pattern. As you can see at my top, I love pattern. Pattern's a huge part of, I guess, my style and my art aesthetic. And it would be so cool, I thought, if I could bring some of that into the actual character design. So as you can see, her plaid jacket has a pattern on it that actually moves with her. I didn't think we were going to be able to do all that patterning. Andy was determined and found ways to sync that up and give so much character to this trench coat, which is going to be a big part of the film going forward. I wanted Gia to stick out like a sore thumb in this space that she's not comfortable in. Last but not least, what I love about this is the background painting as well. I wanted it to have a very like 60s, 70s look. I'm a huge fan of those earlier set designs that they were able to do in animated shorts. They're very graphic and flat and stylized. So we were able to really chase that down and find a way to make these graphic background styles feel modern. When I first saw this shot completed, I remember being so excited. You work on this thing for quite a while, and is this gonna be a movie? Is this just a weird idea I had? But when you see it all compiled together, you get this confidence of like, yeah, we're making something. And so I remember seeing this and being motivated to keep going and make this movie the amazing thing that it turned out to be.
I can't wait. Whoa.
Thank you for all your great insight, Aphton, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So what was the inspiration behind the Pixar SparkShort 20-something? What made you want to tell this story?
When I was offered the SparkShort, unlike a normal reaction that I think a person should have, I was immediately horrified and panicked. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, they've made a huge mistake. I'm too new, too young to do this. After the imposter syndrome died down and I got my bearings together and realized this is what I wanted to do, I thought, what an entertaining and like truthful thing to make a short about is that feeling like you don't quite feel like an adult, you feel like a fake.
What would you say is so special and unique about being in your 20s?
You've kind of become an adult. I mean, they prepped you, but they kind of didn't. And like, you're just doing it. That anybody trusts you to do anything is impressive. And then you realize that everyone else is doing the same thing. Even though they're older, they were all just kind of falling forward and learning to be confident. And that is a very, very interesting part of your 20s.
So how are you doing that? How are you figuring out your 20s and also figuring out your career as an artist? Was that challenging, or did you already know what your path was going to be and just went for it?
I think more than anything, remembering that I'm not alone. I have so many talented people to like reach out and help me. And even though I'm a first-time director, I have people on my team that are like, we're hugely successful already and more than willing to like offer up help this is like a group effort. Life is a group effort as well. I feel like it's something that people assume you have to know, and like no one expects that out of you, was something that I'm continuing to learn.
Yeah,
yes.
It definitely feels like there's a course missing that you're like, wait a minute. I would love to know just what your career path was like leading up to being a story artist at Pixar and then eventually doing the Pixar SparkShort.
I went into Pixar in 2016 and did the internship. So that was my first introduction into the studio. And so from there I was hired on and I worked on Toy Story 4. And that was my first film. And then after that I worked on Soul with Pete Docter. And then from there I went and did a SparkShort.
And any advice for artists who are trying to break into the industry?
I feel like it's so cheesy, but it's very truthful, like the whole be yourself kind of a thing, and share that with the world. I think that's what made my work stand out to studios, was my ability to tell my own perspective. And the better you get at that, the more you can share that with others, and people really relate to things that are truthful to yourself.
I can see that just in the clip that we were just playing. I'm like, that's you. Like, I feel like you brought so much of yourself. Even what you're wearing right now, the patterns and like.
This wasn't an accident. I came to work prepared.
You'd think like it's so specific that no one's gonna relate, but it's like so many people relate and are going to relate. And feel so glad to see this out there.
Yeah, it's really fun too. I think the more you do it, the more you realize, like, why was I trying to do anything else? This is the story I know the best. Is my own story.
Yeah.
Speaking of putting yourself into something, did you feel like there was a difference in your personal involvement when it was working on Toy Story 4, then working on Soul, and now working on this? Like, just like your personal experiences or input into each of those projects?
Yeah, well, each one, even though I wasn't directing those things, it was still me finding a way to put myself into the work. Because you get scenes as a story artist and you board them out. The first, your gut instinct, I guess, is just to board exactly what's on the page. The thing that you learn is how to put your own charm and your own personality to a humor to make it come to life in a specific way. And for me on Toy Story 4, it was like, how can I bring personality to Bo Peep? And like, what's something that's entertaining and truthful that I've experienced that I can add in there to make it sing and make these characters feel like, actual people as opposed to just, just toys. And the same thing with Soul, working on 22 quite a bit. I also worked on the interaction between Joe and his mother, and just what are life experiences that I know that I can add into those scenes. And then you just learn from all these amazing artists who do that kind of thing on the daily and see how they do it. And then that encourages you, and just gaining so much experience on different ways to tell stories.
And I'm curious of just how you would feel as a woman of color to be able to create something like 20-something, and also just be able to put more of that voice into the industry. What do you hope that comes from that?
Growing up, I've never really got a chance to see a whole lot of characters that look like me on screen. And so the opportunity to do so is extremely exciting. And I just hope people watch this and find something that they can relate to and an excitement there. That was the one thing I wasn't panicking about. I knew that character was, whatever it is, was going to be a Black woman, just because it's, once you're learning to tell your own story, you can't back away from that. And my experience is a shared universal experience that deserves to be told. So it's so exciting to get a chance to do that. And I'm so excited to see all the people that will watch it and find a connection to it.
I am glad that you put your imposter syndrome aside.
Yeah.
I know it's terrifying and scary, but I think that applies to any age. I know people that are older than me and they still think they don't know what they're doing, but they're doing it. They're not letting it stop them. What do you hope audiences will take away from Pixar SparkShort 20-something?
It's okay to feel uncomfortable. It's okay to feel like a little kid trying to figure out life, because other people feel the same way too.
Well, thank you so much, Aphton, for being here talking with us today, and congratulations on your Pixar SparkShort 20-something. Make sure to stream the Pixar SparkShort 20-something now on Disney+. Also watch how these two new Pixar SparkShorts came to life in the documentary A Spark Story, launching exclusively on Disney+ this September.